Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our webinar of the Win for Peace group. I'm very pleased to welcome you wherever you are in the world. Today we are going to talk about the UAE's safeguards program and how the UAE did it to transition from an old type small quantities protocol to full scope safeguards implementation when their nuclear program kicked off. And I'm very pleased to welcome two former colleagues of mine from the Federal Authority of Nuclear Regulation, FANR, from Abu Dhabi. Our first speaker will be Luai Qasim, our second one, Rada Bal Hamar, and it will be Adjoa Amponfi, who will be our today's moderator, stepping in for our original moderator, Olipa Jerry, who unfortunately is sick. So thank you, Adjoa, for assuming this duty on short notice. First of all, let me brief you. Who is Win for Peace? Who are we? What do we do? And for this, I'm going to share a few slides with you. So, I hope you can see my slide in presentation mode. Yeah, here it is. So, Win for Peace is a group of expertise within Win Global, which was founded in early 2023 with the objective to contribute towards world peace through the involvement of more women in four main subject areas: in nuclear non-proliferation, safeguards, export controls, and disarmament. And we do this by having different activities across all four domains, in particular education and training. And we do this through either webinars or hybrid events. My motivation when I established Win for Peace was because I believe that we need more women in the peace building process and in the Win for Peace subject areas in order to contribute towards world peace. And if we look around, we see that the world right now is not very peaceful. We now have members from all four continents. Actually, we almost have 30 members. So this 20 is, it's a typo. And membership is open to all Win Global members. Here is a photo of our current members. So we are from all four continents, including, we have many ladies from Africa, we have South America, we have Asia, we have Europe. So we also have two supporters. One is the Vienna Center for Disarmament and Non-Proliferation, the VCDNP. The other one, the UN Office for Disarmament Affairs, UNODA, and both of them are located in Vienna. We have conducted several webinars. I'm not going to go through the details of our webinars, but they cover all subject areas. So we have had the international non-proliferation regime and safeguards at the national, regional, international level, Iran's nuclear program, export control basics, AQCAN network, approaches to disarmament and nuclear propulsion. And these were our webinars in 2024. So we had talked about nuclear weapons, about safeguarding SMRs, the fuel cycle, the CTBTO, the basics of nuclear physics, cybersecurity, the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons, and we had two series of nuclear weapons-free zones. We announce our webinars on social media, basically on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, and also via email to all those who have already participated, and our webinars are usually open for everybody. So this is Win for Peace, and I'm now very pleased to introduce first of all our moderator, Adjoa Amponfi from Ghana, who is a nuclear science professional with a strong background in nuclear safeguards, non-proliferation, and international cooperation. Adjoa holds a MPhil in nuclear and radiochemistry. She worked with the IAEA and the Nuclear Regulatory Authority of Ghana, where she contributed to regulatory review, safeguards compliance, and stakeholder coordination. Adjoa is passionate about advancing peaceful uses of nuclear technology through transparent, inclusive, and accountable frameworks, and her work reflects a commitment to capacity building and the active involvement of youth and women in nuclear governance. She currently works with the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission in security and safeguards. Adjoa is also a very active member of Win for Peace, and Ghana, amongst several other countries, is in the process of moving from an SQP state to a nuclear newcomer country. And this is what has actually triggered today's webinar, because we have had a lot of interest in this topic. So let me hand over to Adjoa's capable hands. And Adjoa, the floor is yours.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can, but I think you need to raise your voice a little bit.
Okay. I hope this is better. Okay, so today we are going to have presentations from well-experienced people in safeguards. We will have one from Laura, and then from there we will move on to our next presentation from Gada, and then we will have a short summary of the presentations that have been done, and then we will hold our Q&A, and then the question remarks. So I will go ahead and then introduce the first speaker, who is in the person of Loa Ahasunimi. So he's a senior non-proliferation engineer and safeguards inspector with the Federal Authority for Nuclear Regulation in Abu Dhabi, UAE, and he has been working in the safeguards department since August 2016. He received his double bachelor's degree in nuclear engineering and political science from the Pennsylvania State University in 2015. During the past years, his work has primarily focused on nuclear materials accounting, inspection, licensing, and training. Loa has been responsible in managing the UAE safeguards support programs, the IAEA, and developing an international safeguards cooperation policy, as he is a focal point for the Department's international affairs. Mr. Ahasnimi has authored several peer-reviewed papers and publications, including the UAE, a frontline in nuclear non-proliferation and nuclear non-proliferation partnerships, a case study of UAE and Republic of Korea. He has also spoken at conferences and symposia such as the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Fora, and has won the Director General Medal for Best Specialized Employee in 2022 and the FANR Ambassador Award in 2024. So without wasting much time, I'll give the floor to Mr. Loa to start your presentation.
Excuse me, Adjoa, a brief interruption before we let Luai speak. Can we just take a group photo? So can everyone please put on their cameras? Let me lower my hand. Okay.
Before that, I think we lost Luay.
Oh.
Is he here with us?
Luai,
okay,
let him reconnect.
Yes, he had the problems with the internet connection, so just give him a few seconds to rejoin us to take the group photo, and he will be presenting also.
Okay.
Okay. So my video is not even working now anymore, so we will have to make do with my profile picture. Sorry.
That's not a problem at all. The main thing is you are somehow in the picture. So let's wait for Luai. It wouldn't be a live webinar if there were not things like this happening. Otherwise, everything else is cut out. But I'm sure there's never a webinar where there is not something happening in between that you don't expect. So
Absolutely.
don't worry about it.
I think a couple of other people have also sent in the Q&A that their camera is also having issues.
All right. Okay, I'm seeing that. Okay, no problem, ladies, if and gentlemen, if you cannot, the participants, if you cannot put on your camera, no problem. We just need to wait for our first speaker. That is indispensable. Oh, here, Luai is here. And Luai, please, can you put on your camera for the group photo? All right. Agostina, please, can you take the photo?
Yes, one. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, Luai, the floor is yours.
All right. Good morning, everyone. I don't know what time is it in Vienna. It's in the afternoon, actually. So good afternoon to everyone, and good evening to everyone in the UAE. So as they've mentioned, my presentation is going to be on the transition between the from the SQP to the full scope safeguards in the UAE. So just give me a moment to share my screen. All right, so can you see my presentation?
Yes, perfect.
Yes, Luai, please go ahead.
All right, so the objectives of this session. So I'm going to outline the UAE's nuclear context, how it evolved, and its safeguards infrastructure development. I will outline what the UAE 2031 vision is, and I will highlight its main pillars. I will talk about the key
Yes.
organizations in the UAE. Okay. I will talk about the key organizations in the UAE's nuclear sector. I will help you understand the UAE safeguards journey and its small quantities protocol back then. I will also generally talk about the difference between the original and the modified SQPs of the IA. And I will also talk about how the UAE has went through the process of having its SQP non-operational, and what are the key consequences of that. And I will also talk about the UAE's journey towards full-scope CSA. It has been a very significant part in the development of the UAE safeguards infrastructure during that phase. So I will be talking a bit more about the journey and the lessons learned during the SQP period. Okay, so first I'll talk about what the UAE's SQP, the UAE 2031's vision is. Now, the UAE 2031 is basically a vision of His Highness, the President of the UAE, basically for the future of the country. And his vision is to transform this vision of UAE becoming a global leader as per the UAE Centennial Plan 2071 into reality. So the 2031 vision is basically a short-term actionable plan that basically acts as a stepping stone towards the broader and longer-term goals of the Centennial Plan 2071. And this also works in the principle of the 50, which is basically which is basically announced in 2021 to mark the UAE's 50th anniversary. And it's a set of 10 guiding values to shape the nation's development over the next 50 years. It focuses on unity, sustainability, innovation, and global collaboration. Now, in order for us to achieve this long-term vision, which is the Centennial Plan 2071, we need to set the groundworks for it. And this is basically what the UAE 2031 vision is. It focuses on the shorter term, basically in the next decade. However, it sets the groundwork for it. And it's based on four main pillars. The first is the forward society. Now, this pillar focuses on advancing social development and well-being for all the UAE citizens. Forward economy, which emphasizes on building a more diversified economy that's more innovative and it sets a sustainable economic framework, so to speak. And the third one is forward diplomacy. Now, this pillar aims to strengthen the UAE's global presence and foster international collaboration. And in terms of the UAE's non-proliferation obligation, it is in line with this pillar. The UAE has always been proactive when it comes to non-proliferation and promoting peaceful use of nuclear energy in the region and internationally. And the UAE has always demonstrated its continuous commitment towards non-proliferation, forming nuclear cooperation agreements with various states when it comes to nuclear energy and peaceful uses of nuclear energy.
Why we cannot hear you?
I'm sorry, did someone say anything? Because I heard someone's voice.
I
No.
could not hear you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now it's okay.
Is that okay now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So now we're moving to the UAE's nuclear context. From the 18th to the 20th century, the UAE has been, before the establishment of the UAE, the whole region was mainly depending on pearl diving, and then it went into an oil-based economy after its discovery of oil and its export of oil from the 1958 and further. And in the past recent years, the UAE has realized that it has to diversify its economy and focus on and look at other types of energy sources, be it renewable energy sources and clean energy sources. And this was when the nuclear energy program was announced in 2008 in a white paper, whereby the UAE has made commitments to a peaceful nuclear energy program in the country. Now, in 2003, the UAE has ratified its Comprehensive Safeguards Agreement with a Small Quantities Protocol. And whatever commitments the UAE has made in its white paper in 2008 has been transcribed into the UAE's Federal Nuclear Law number 6, which is concerning the peaceful use of nuclear energy, in 2009. And shortly after, the Federal Authority for Nuclear Regulation, which is the state regulatory authority here in the UAE, has been established. The Safeguards Department itself was roughly established in 2010. We had an additional protocol ratified in 2010 as well. Baraka nuclear power plants started in 2020. I think the first unit went into operation by 2021. Today, the UAE is one of the member states support programs to the IAEA. The UAE received its broader conclusion from the agency in 2023, and I think it received a broader conclusion this year as well, 3 times in a row. All right. So what are the key organizations here in the UAE? In the nuclear sector, we have, as I mentioned, the Federal Authority for Nuclear Regulation, which is the state regulatory authority in the UAE. So it is the regulator. It has various departments, and one of the departments is the Safeguards Department, which focuses on the UAE safeguards affairs. So it has a safeguards section with 11 full-time staff members and an export-import section with 10 full-time members. Roughly half of the staff are women, which is in line with the UAE's gender balance strategy. And also on the operator level, we have the Emirates Nuclear Energy Corporation. Now, the Emirates Nuclear Energy Company is the mother company. It is the national implementer of the UAE's nuclear program. And it has a subsidiary, which is the ENIC Operations, that is responsible for the operation and maintenance of safeguards and export control. All right, so in 1995, in the context of the UAE acceded to the NPT. And of course, in order to comply with its obligations in the Non-Proliferation Treaty in 2003, the UAE ratified its Comprehensive Safeguards Agreement, and it entered into force in 2003 with a Small Quantities Protocol. This was documented in the INFCIRC 622, that is based on the corrected document of the agency. Now, in 2005, not in 2005, actually, earlier than that, the IAEA realized that it's quite burdening for states as well as the agency to fully implement CSA provisions, especially with states that had minimal nuclear activity. And the IAEA realized that these resources could be better used elsewhere in countries with more developed nuclear programs and with significant nuclear activities and quantities of nuclear material. And that's how the Small Quantities Protocol was introduced. So the SQP was introduced for states with little or no nuclear material or facilities in their countries. And basically what the SQP does, it holds part 2 of the CSA measures in abeyance, which means the majority of the provisions that are in the CSA are basically paused until that country gets, or that state gets, a significant amount of nuclear material or builds a nuclear facility in their country. One of the definitions defines SQP as a protocol to a comprehensive safeguards agreement concluded between the IAEA and a state on the basis that the state has less than specified minimal quantities of nuclear material and no nuclear material in a facility. So there are 2 types of SQP: the original, which has the standard text, and the modified, which has the reverse text as of 2005. Now, in the case of UAE, it had the original text when it entered into force in 2003. I'll talk a bit more about the original SQP in general. It was approved in 2020 in 22 August 1974 by the IAEA Board of Governors. Now, for countries to be eligible for the SQP, they needed to have less than 1 effective kilogram of nuclear material and no nuclear material in a facility. Now, this is quite interesting for the UAE as well, because as I recall at that time, the UAE being an oil-based and oil-dependent economy had imported a large number of cameras, radiographic cameras that they use in the oil industries, and these cameras are shielded with depleted uranium, and we had a large number of those, and I think the total quantity and weight of nuclear material or of depleted uranium has surpassed almost half of what the effective kilogram of or the effective weight of depleted uranium. So it was quite interesting at that time. So if we had double the capacity, maybe we would have reached the 1 effective kilogram of depleted uranium, and maybe we might have had to rescind the SQP at that time. So this was something quite interesting. So like I mentioned earlier, the effect of the SQP is that it holds in abeyance most of the reporting and access requirements for states. However, the key requirements, some of the key requirements were actually not held in abeyance, and they are required by states that were under the SQP. Some of the important ones are developing and negotiating subsidiary arrangements. These had to be in place in order to negotiate basically how the IA would conduct safeguards and implement safeguards in a state. Providing DIQs of existing facilities, and also reporting import and exports of nuclear material on an annual basis. Of course, these became more detailed once the SQP was rescinded, but during the SQP period, there was a general report of import and export of nuclear material in the country. So in May 2005, the IAEA Board of Governors, they noted weaknesses in the original SQP. The original SQP had no verification tool to confirm the eligibility of states. There was no initial nuclear material report required. And so there was no way for the IAEA to verify this kind of information in states with an SQP. So in 2005, the Board of Governors decides to modify the SQP text, and this was approved in September. And finally, the Board of Governors only approves the revised SQP text moving forward. So the modified SQP changes were ineligible for states with existing and planned facilities, and they also had fewer measures that were held in abeyance compared to the original SQP. So the modified SQP was more stricter. It requested more information from states, so there was more reporting, and there was also more verification measures and inspections for states as compared to the original SQP. So one of the major requirements were providing an initial report of the nuclear inventory in the country, allowing IAEA access to verify that kind of information, and also to notify the agency early of the decisions to construct a nuclear facility. Now, in terms of the operational status, the modified SQP is active until the nuclear material again exceeds 1 effective kilogram. It becomes non-operational upon decision to construct or authorize a facility, whichever is first. So as you can see here, the condition is more stricter as compared to the original one. So what was the process for the UAE to rescind or for its SQP to become non-operational? Of course, as required by the agreement, the UAE has provided a 6 months advance notice to the agency that nuclear material will be introduced into Baraka, into the power plants. Like I mentioned earlier, the SQP becomes non-operational once nuclear material is introduced into the facility, which has been the case for the UAE. So we've provided the 6 months advance notification. Nuclear material was received at Baraka. The UAE notified the agency that nuclear material was received at Baraka. The agency informed the UAE that the SQP has become non-operational and requested the UAE to rescind the SQP. Of course, this has been done through diplomatic channels. The UAE rescinds the SQP through an exchange of letters. And of course, after that, once the UAE entered full-scope CSA, it submitted its initial report of all the nuclear material in the country. The agency naturally started its inspections and verified the initial report. And of course, the UAE, of course, once all the provisions were now no longer held in abeyance, it had to meet all of these provisions. And of course, this meant submitting regular accounting reports such as ICRs, PILs, MBRs, and so on. So what were the key consequences of the SQP becoming non-operational? Of course, it was only natural for the IA to conduct its inspections, as listed in the paragraphs of 69 to 81 of the UAE's Comprehensive Safeguards Agreement. Nuclear material accounting has now become more regular and stricter, submitting the initial report, routine reporting, monthly inventory change reports like I discussed, and other periodic reports to the agency. Subsidiary arrangements had to be concluded with the agency. Now, of course, subsidiary arrangements includes the general part and the facility attachments. All of these had to be concluded. Facility attachments for each unit in the Baraka nuclear power plants were concluded. So we have 4 units in Baraka, as nuclear power plants, and for each of these units, there was a facility attachment that was included that specifies safeguards implementation in each of these units. So, what was the UAE's experience under the SQP? Now, the case of the UAE was actually quite special because at the time when the UAE was under the SQP, it also signed its additional protocol and it entered into force in 2009, 2010, around that period. So the UAE had additional protocol requirements to meet while it was under the SQP. So there was IAEA inspections that were relevant to the additional protocol, complementary access, additional protocol reporting, and so there was increased cooperation between the UAE and the agency in terms of the additional protocol requirements. There was early stakeholder engagement of the UAE with its stakeholders. So since the announcement of the UAE's nuclear program in 2008, the UAE has begun very close cooperation between the state and the agency. There was an ISAS mission. The safeguards infrastructure in the country was assessed. Regulations had to be developed. The UAE had to develop its accounting system. It had to develop its competencies. In terms of developing the nuclear material accounting system, this was treated as a project at the time of the SQP. It was quite an extensive process in developing the system of the NMA. At that time, we had a lot of young professionals that were working in the safeguards department. They were exposed to developing the system of the NMA. They looked into the requirements, they understood the reporting requirements of the CSA and how they could be easily transcribed into the NMA system. How can we meet these requirements of reporting? So they were there and exposed, and they ran the system and they tested the system from the beginning till it was finally out. So during that time, it was important to note that the UAE was operating as though it was under full scope CSA. We had national legislation in place. We had the Regulation 10, which is our safeguards regulation, and FENR, and this applied to all persons in the UAE. So we were conducting national inspections that were safeguards inspections. Of course, in the early stages, we were compiling all the nuclear material inventory in the country. We had to do national outreach. We had to work with different agencies in the country, be it federal custom authorities, the Department of Economic Development. So all of this had to occur in the beginning for us to compile all of the data that was existent in the country in terms of nuclear material inventories and in terms of all the stakeholders that will be involved later on as the nuclear safeguards infrastructure develops. So this was quite important. So once our regulations were developed, we conducted inspections. Our licensees were reporting to us all of their nuclear material inventory changes were reported. So the UAE operated as though it was under full scope CSA nationally. And the NMA system that was developed and which was eventually going to produce the required reports to be sent to the agency were ran and tested several times until we made sure that it generated the required report for the agency. So all of this was quite important for us in order to build the safeguards infrastructure in the country. And once the country was under full scope CSA, it had a very smooth transition when it started naturally reporting to the agency and also hosting the agency during their inspections. Now, this was quite unique because at that time, the UAE is also very transparent. Like I mentioned, it signed the additional protocol in 2009. Cooperation with the agency and other partner states was one of the most important factors. So the UAE was very transparent in its nuclear power program. It had set milestones as to when it will start building and operating its nuclear power reactors. So during that timeline, transparency was very important to us, and also taking proactive measures, um, was very important to demonstrate the UAE's commitment to non-proliferation. And one of that was the unique agreement it had with the United States, which is the 123 agreement, where the UAE officially has foregone its ability to for uranium enrichment and plutonium reprocessing. So making such a commitment has set the gold standard for non-proliferation, and so the period was quite important for us, a very important moment, an opportunity to get the important things done during that period, and also demonstrate to the rest of the international community that the UAE is fully committed to its non-proliferation obligations and is doing its best to support the international community when it comes to non-proliferation and safeguards. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for your very concise and informative presentation. I learned that the picture that was taken, some people had their eyes closed, so we are going to take another group photo. So if you are able, kindly on your camera so we can take the group photo.
Ready, thank you.
The next on our agenda, um, the next of on our agenda is we're moving on to Gada's presentation. So I will give a little introduction, and then I'll give the floor to her to speak. So she has a Bachelor of Education and then a master's degree in Educational Leadership and Administration. She also worked as a teacher for English, Math, and Science for 3 years, and then as a specialist in Education and Training department for 9.5 years. She participates in training and development programs to enhance employees' knowledge, skills, and abilities to meet the FANR's business objectives. Some of the activities that she is involved in is that she is involved in the analysis of individual and organizational training needs. She develops and implements training programs for the UAE national employees as part of the FANR Career Development Framework. She conducts evaluations of professional services and training providers, and then negotiates and maintains related contracts. She also builds and maintains favorable relationships with preferred service or training providers, and then integrates career development plans with FANR's manpower plans. She is also into development of systems and processes to identify UAE nationals with high potential for further development. And she articulates group training goals, programs, and initiatives to all levels in FNR. And then she provides subject matter expertise level in all training matters, overviews the implementation of policies and procedures in line with any changes in the training strategy, measures program effectiveness and implements changes to program design to achieve continuous improvement, develops an effective training budget to meet the training needs, acts as a reference for other education and training specialists throughout FANR, and job family competency modeling. In addition, she also manages several training activities such as the developee program, internal trainer program, and onboarding program in FANR. And she supports operational departments to create and execute their training plans. And she has worked as the chair of Tolerance Working Group from 2020 to January 2025, and manages and implements activities that increase the awareness about the tolerance value among employees. So, having introduced our next speaker, who is in the person of Gada Bahama, I'll give the floor to her to continue with her presentation. So, Gada, if you are online,
Yes,
kindly proceed.
hi, good afternoon. Thank you so much, Ms. Ajwa, for the nice and detailed introduction. And good afternoon, everyone. I will share my screen now, so just let me know if my screen is shown clearly. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm so pleased and honored to be part of this panel discussion. My name is Ghada Belhamar, and I'm a specialist in operations training from Education Training Department at the Federal Authority for Nuclear Regulation. Today, I'm pleased to take you through FANR's capacity building program, which is supporting all the employees for learning and development. So our outline today, I will take you through FANR's organization, the strategy plan from 2023 to 2026, FANR's capacity building and democratization strategy, FANR's integrated talent management model, FANR competency framework, development programs and building capacities, FANR career path, FANR knowledge management, and last but not least, Emirates Nuclear and Radiation Academy, which we launched recently to support employees' development. So at the beginning, I would like to share with you this quote. He had a dream, today we made it real. Here we are referring back to our former ruler, Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan. He was very ambitious with all the dreams that we have to achieve in the United Arab Emirates. And one of them was the nuclear power plants, to have it in the UAE. We work all hard, hand by hand, with the national cadres to ensure that this dream becomes true. And we were lucky to have the first operating unit started in 2021 with generating a clean and peaceful energy. So that we have it as a very unique story as we built the nuclear power plant units in very short time. And simultaneously, we were training the employees with getting the support from the international experts to train the employees how to regulate these nuclear power plant units. And that is not the same case in other countries around the world. So we are proud of achieving this dream within this certain time, with the support of all the national cadre and the international expertise. So I'm trying just to drag this one down. Okay, so this is FANR strategy 2023 to 2026. FANAR has a set of two strategic objectives, which are supporting FANAR vision and mission. We have a strategic objective one, proactively optimizing the regulatory control of facilities and activities. And the strategic objective two, advance research and development and capacity building to address potential evolving challenges in the nuclear and radiation sector. And here it shows the importance of capacity building. So these are supporting FANAR vision, which is to be globally recognized as a leading nuclear regulator, and also supporting FANAR mission, where it says to protect the public and the environment from the harmful effects of ionizing radiation, and to ensure the exclusively peaceful use of nuclear energy in an integrated manner with the concerned authority and according to international best practices. And here we are highlighting in red the importance of education training in supporting the employees' competencies and development, as it's mentioned also in the mission, where it says capacity building of Emiratis in the nuclear field and various technical fields. That's breaking down the mission to three main objectives: ensure all regulated activities are conducted in a peaceful, safe, and secure manner, develop, maintain, sustain, and robust UAE nuclear regulatory infrastructure. And here we also chose the importance of learning and development. And the third main objective of strengthening cooperation and partnership with the stakeholders, which is an important aspect, a very crucial point and main objective, as we need to get the support from other expertise around the world by cooperation, benchmarking, and etc., just to ensure that we are implementing the best practices and exchanging knowledge and experience. So all these are supporting the UAE new governance model with the transformational objective to achieve progress in government work, boosting the UAE regional and global excellence and leadership. That is supporting the UAE government vision to make the UAE the best country in the world by 2071, supported by enabler objective 1, enhance innovation practices based on flexibility, proactively and readiness with the work system. And objective 2, which is also highlighting the importance of education, attract and empower the best human talent, provide efficient and effective corporate services and digital infrastructure. And all these objectives are considered to be implemented with the support, with the taking into consideration FANAR core values, what you see on the right side: safety, transparency, collaboration, independence, and excellence. So what is FANAR capacity building and democratization strategy? FANAR, a human capacity building strategy, consists of two tracks. We have short to medium term needs, and we have long term needs. So for the short to medium term needs, we are ensuring that we are staffing and appointing the right experts to deal with our short to medium term needs from experience, from knowledge, from implementing the best practices. And when we think about the long-term sustainability, we are thinking about and focusing on developing the capacity of Emiratis. That's to ensure the long-term sustainability of the nuclear program. So how we are doing that? For the short to medium term needs, we are staffing the expatriates staff to deal with our all needed support. And we ensure that they are supporting our Emirati. And for the development of young Emiratis are provided also to ensure the long-term sustainability through formal education, such as undergraduate and postgraduate scholarships at national and international institutions. We ensure also having competency-based training programs, which is focusing specifically on the employees' competencies. So we are delivering trainings for them that supports their competencies needs, either for gaps or for promoting and developing them to the next level. We're also ensuring that the experienced employees that we bring them from around the world, the experts, the subject matter experts, are mentoring those Emiratis to ensure the knowledge sharing is happening continuously. So we are also ensuring developing the sustainability of a nuclear and radiological regulatory infrastructure in the United Arab Emirates, and ensuring the provision of all administrative services in accordance with the standards of quality, efficiency, and transparency, by ensuring that the capacity building is implemented within our programs, within our technical trainings, within our research and development, and within human resources by appointing the right people to the right position based on the competencies, and ensuring that knowledge management are taking care of capturing the knowledge, sharing the knowledge, saving the knowledge for our reference and future records. So this is a picture showing the employment life cycle from pre-recruitment to retirement, which I believe similar to the other organizations around the world. At the beginning, we ensure that we recruit the employees, getting people into company by ensuring that a specific job is vacant or required to be filled. So we focus on all the required technical and soft or behavioral competencies are specified. So we collect the CVs, analyze them, and we start the interviewing process. Based on that, we analyzed the CVs and the interviews, so we ensure that we are placing them into the right roles. And after that comes to the develop step, which is the step number 3, where we are following up with the hired employee to ensure its development in the right way by providing them with the required list of trainings, maybe going to job rotation, and other programs that supporting them to perform their jobs to the right required quality level, let's say. Then we are also ensuring that we retain those employees. So if we can see that those employees are bright and they are supporting our achievements of FINER vision and mission, we ensure that those employees are retained by giving them the required rewarding or promotions, and also by creating for them individual development plan that supports their development and keep them eager to learn and develop, to return them and to support also the other employees through them. And the last stage, which is retire, which people are reaching to that normal age of retirement. So here I would like to speak about FENAR's integrated talent management model and how it's supporting our capacity building. Here we are counting a lot on the competency framework as the first step. So this is the main skeleton of this model. So we ensure the manpower planning is always done based on the competency needs for the organization, as competencies requirements are sometimes changed from time to time as per the business need or the core functions or any kind of updates for processes and procedures. So we ensure those competencies are up to date, and it's the skeleton for the whole talent management model. Based on that, we ensure the manpower planning, which kind of vacancies we have, or if we need extra people to support the development of a specific section or department. Then it moves to the sourcing and recruiting with ensuring that those competencies are specified for that person, and we are recruiting, let's say, the right person to the right position. And step 3, we are ensuring that that hired employee or the employee who's working at FENER having performance management. So also this is linked to the competency framework, as in our system for the appraisal. We do not just allow the employees to put their objectives for the year. However, we ensure that they are linking these objectives to their behavioral and technical competencies. So they have also to link those competencies to the objectives, and they have to choose them to be appraised on an annual basis. Moreover, the talent development, we ensure that we are providing a training to those talent employees. We have talent aspiration sessions where we can get the employees what they are good at, their strengths and areas for development. And we also, once we see those employees are like high flyers, we ensure that those energies and efforts are not just weighted. We are assigning them to strategic projects or transformational projects. And that is also will be like the, let's say, the entry point to the succession planning, where we see that employee is talented, having high level of competency, proficiency levels in the competency. So we ensure that employee should be continuing to be developed. So he will be part or she will be part of the succession planning by creating for that employee individual development plan with the support of technical mentor to prepare that employee either to be an expert or in a leadership position. Then this moving us to leadership development, where we are ensuring that mentoring and coaching programs are provided to the leadership. We are also supporting the leadership, which when I say here leadership, I refer back to managers, directors, and senior management in our organization. So we are also providing trainings related to their soft skills like empowerment, team management, collaboration, and etc. And also we ensure that we are enrolling them to regulatory programs for leadership, such as the one that we have in the International Atomic Energy Agency. And last but not least, knowledge management. We ensure all these activities are captured and saved for all FINRA employees for future use and as a reference. Here also, education and training are supporting the career development for employees as per the years of experience that they have. So at the bottom, you would see 0 to 3 years. So these programs are designed specifically for those who are joining FENER as new joiners. So they are getting basic training levels, such as legal basis, introductory to APR 1400, radiation protection trainings, and also they are assigned to job rotations and technical tour. So they are also provided with the induction program as well as onboarding program, and that is all captured in a program which is created for the new joiners called اقرب وتعلم, which consisted of more than 70 topics, which are all in basic level, serving and suiting all the employees who are joining FINAR, even if they are from administration division. So we made it for to be in basic, very easy language, so that will at least support all the new joiners regardless of their background, educational background. So moving up to the 3 years of experience, here we are having employees who are getting more experience. So maybe they will be senior engineers or prepared to be specialists. So we have more in-depth development tools where we have secondment, graduate scholarship programs, technical training programs, fellowships, and also we are having individual development plan to prepare them to fill their gaps or to prepare them for the next level. And we are providing them with the required qualification cards. So qualification cards, it's an which is well-known aspect in my organization, but for those who doesn't know, we have, for example, inspector qualification card, which is consisting of list of trainings and activities that the inspectors should be doing in order to be qualified. And after they are doing all these trainings and activities, it should be signed by education training, their line supervisor, and senior management. And after the employee is becoming more experienced, now it's the chance to know if that employee is willing to go to senior specialist expert stream, or he would like to go to the manager director stream. And that is also specified in the individual development plan, where that employee is assigned as one of the succession planning one of the succession planning as one of the members or candidates that were nominated and chosen. And if it's an expert, more technical support he will get in. from experienced employees. And if not, if it's for manager and director level, let's say leadership position, then they will be focusing more on the leadership skills. Those are some of the FENAR competency framework. That's an example from Safeguard Job Family. And here we, in FENAR, we developed a competency framework providing objective platform for managing related processes, including job, design, performance management, and career development. And it's extracted from IAEA Tech Doc 1254. And it was adjusted or tailored and modified by our technical expertise in FANR. So those are including 4 main quadrants. One is legal, regulatory, and organizational basis, which includes legal basis, regulatory policies, regulations, or regulatory guides, and management system. And it is important to highlight is that the first step, which is the legal, or the first quadrant, it is applicable to all FNR employees, but it varies in the levels of proficiencies. Let's say for the legal department, legal basis may be required from education training to be maximum level 3, but for legal department, supposed to be reached to level 5. Science and technology is also from the safeguards competencies. And we have functional, technical, regulatory body practices. Those are varies as per so those are becoming different as per the job family. So each job family will be having similar competencies. However, the other job families, even if it's within the department, will be a little bit different from each other. That's based on the activities that they are implementing. And the fourth quadrant, which is personal and behavioral competencies, those are also applicable to all FINER employees, as these are soft skills required to perform our day-to-day job, like innovation, teamwork, analytical thinking, problem solving, and etc. Okay. So those are also examples for the core trainings that we have supporting the safeguards competencies development, such as enforcement trainings, safety culture, Ministry of Justice training, use of nuclear law regulations and license conditions and inspection, and writing of inspection reports. More specified training for safeguards like nuclear fuel cycle, non-proliferation regime, IAEA and its safeguard systems, and many other examples as you see here. This slide is very interesting as it includes the examples of education training programs that we provide, not just safeguards the department, however, all the other departments in FENAR, which contributes to their development and to their learning as well. So we have internship program where we open the chance to students from universities to join us for 8 weeks to get work experience provided by FENER, so that they are joining FENER as per their educational background and their requirements. So sometimes they are going to safeguards, sometimes to education training. So that's based on the university requirement. We have scholarship programs from Khalifa University, Kings and KAIST, and other international universities. We have also secondment program from the IAEA and the USNRC. We have basic technical trainings where we ensure that employees are attending these technical training to support their development. And we are proudly saying 97% of our employees are trained for basic technical training, such as inspector qualification training. And so far, we are having 94 qualified inspectors, which is around more than 50. It's around 50% of our employees, as we are a small organization and we are 250 employees. So that's a quite good number. We have training of assessor and safety, safeguard, security, and waste emergency preparedness. And we have also reactor operations training. Also, we have the Developee program, which is designed for the new joiners and Fenner to provide them all the support that is required for them since their first day of joining Fenner. That program is consisted of 13 months of development with having one technical mentor from their own section and one mentor from education training department, where we ensure that this new joiner, once he joins the developee program, he has specific objectives and first and final assessment. The first assessment is conducted by the end of the 6 month and with rubric, and we ensure that the employees are also attending to give constructive feedback for the employees, for the developee who's presenting. And the final assessment, it is conducted by the developee by the end of the 13 months. And it's also coming along with the rubric. And here the developee just share his full 13 months learning journey with everyone, with ensuring that they are achieving the objectives that were assigned to that developee. This year, we also, at the beginning, we opened it only for engineers, then we opened it to health physicists. Then we opened another stream in 2019 for legal. And for during 2025, since we saw this program has a huge success to Fenner employees development, so we opened it even for administration division with having one technical mentor and one education training mentor. We have other training programs. We have 56 certified internal trainers, and that number should be fixed because last week specifically, the number was increased to 13 people. Let's say it will be 69, as 13 employees were graduated from Train the Trainer program last Thursday. And that program is giving them the main the required skills that required for anyone to deliver a training, to share knowledge, to ensure the knowledge is shared in the right way with the support of the different types of learners. And just to ensure that our experienced employees can share their knowledge in the right way and it can be captured and absorbed by our employees. And we have also at the end developing advanced technical expertise by attending like high level or yes, advanced trainings like severe accident trainings, instrumentation and control, safeguards and laboratory, and etc. So this is Finnar career path where it shows, like for example, officer or analyst or engineer will be assigned in grade 10. And that employee can be moving to grade 9 after like 1 year. And after the 1 year also, he can be eligible to financial promotion. And after 3 years, the employee can be going through competency assessment panel. What does competency assessment panel means? It simply is about showing the employee has specific competencies, so that he needs to prepare a presentation with having competency panel assessment panelist from education training and from HR. Which is important as the employee should show that he's achieving his competencies uh, proficiency levels within his job, within his current job, and showing his highest or best achievement for the past 3 years. So that's going repetitively. After that, the employee will be moving to senior officer or senior analyst or senior engineer, which is a grade 8. And then after like 2 years, he will be eligible for financial promotion. And for after another 2 years, he will be eligible for financial promotion. And after that, he will be going through competency assessment panel if that candidate was fulfilling the requirements of his competency. And he will also show the case of his achievements in line with the competencies, his own competencies, the technical and the behavioral. And that is a chain until you see the level of retirement. And here we are talking about knowledge management. So at the beginning, critical knowledge is identified where we can focus on the gaps through analysis and identify the risk through the employees also competencies. So we ensure that the critical knowledge is identified just to ensure that it's saved, it's captured. Let's say if that employee might leave and nobody is replacing him, or that person need also support to fill that vacancy. And the knowledge is very important to be identified. So to know the gaps, to analyze them, and to identify what are the risks if that employee will leave the organization, or or the knowledge is not really captured or shared with his own colleagues. After that, we ensure that we have knowledge collaboration. We search for the required knowledge source. If we have specific competencies and employees are having, let's say, gaps on them, so we ensure that we search for the required knowledge source, either internally from the experts within FENAR, or externally by looking at our MOUs, agreements, to ensure that we have collaboration to get the required knowledge. We have also knowledge capturing, where we capture the required knowledge from the employees and the experts. And we move after that to ensure we store, we save all the captured knowledge and make it accessible and retrievable. Um, and that is very important to ensure that this knowledge is available for future reference, for records, and it's available for FANAR employees at any time and anywhere. We are also having knowledge sharing and applying, where we can see specific knowledge is important to be shared by specific experts who is or she is having this specific knowledge and others do not have it. So we arrange with the experts in FENAR to ensure that they are delivering sessions, sharing their knowledge in continuous, like let's say, manner, um, to ensure that employees are not having gaps in certain stuff, or employees are having or all having the required knowledge to perform their job without counting on one specific employee or an expert. And last but not least, we ensure the business continuity by having knowledge maintaining and the sustainability. And that is the main purpose of having knowledge economy, by maintaining the knowledge and having always records and resources. Here, I would like to give you an overview about Emirates Nuclear and Radiation Academy, which is ENRA, which has been launched recently by FENAR. What is really important to know is that this is a virtual academy to provide training to improve percentage of national leaders and experts qualified in the field of nuclear and radiation applications in the country. This platform is supporting many people, not just employees. We have like potential job seekers, students, graduates who have the desire to be part of the nuclear and radiation sector. And that is happening through providing them short online trainings and modules, and also webinars, so they can build their own portfolio and access vacancies available in the market, which is supporting everyone in UAE to build their knowledge in the nuclear and radiation. We have the current status for that. It was launched on 16th February 2023. And we have the number of users, which I'm sure it was increased, which is 359. And the number of certificates issued so far, 166. And the number of modules is not 4 modules, and the 3 are coming soon. So they are in total, I believe, 7 or 8 modules so far. And many people are getting the advantage of this academy, which is virtual and accessible, easy to use. So that's all about how we are supporting the competency and the capacity building of Emiratis, and not just in safeguards, but also in FENAR. And as per the academy that I explained, we are also supporting the capacity building of Emiratis in general, not just in FANR. And that's also increasing our ambition to show the people in UAE the importance of radiation and nuclear, and to encourage them to be part of this nuclear program in the future. And who knows, maybe they will be the future leaders in the future. So thank you so much. And the floor is yours, Adjo.
Okay, thank you very much for this presentation. You have detailed all the efforts the authority is making to develop its workforce and all. Okay, so just a kind reminder, if you have a question, you can leave it in the Q&A button there. Just click on the Q&A and then write your question there, or you can raise your hand, or you can ask for access and then you'll be allowed to ask your question. Either ways, you can choose whichever way you are more comfortable with. So we are done with our presentations for today, and I will give a little overview of what we have listened to so far, whilst we wait for the questions to be sent in. We already have one question there, so we will address that later on. So from Luai's presentation, we would say that UAE's journey from a small quantities protocol state to a full scope safeguards state is very commendable. They transitioned in this way as a form of foresight. They also held their responsibility very well, and they did not shun international leadership. So from the presentation, we would understand that when they recognized earlier on that their ambitions for peaceful nuclear energy would outgrow the limited scope of the SQP, their decision to strategize and voluntarily withdraw from the protocol so that they can move on to the next step was very significant. Was very significant, and I would say that this wasn't just a procedural shift. It marked a national commitment to transparency and trust building, and then full alignment with the global non-proliferation regime. They moved from the SQP and then transitioned very smoothly following all the protocols, which is very commendable. And from there, they also took deliberate steps to build robust legal and regulatory infrastructure, developing their nuclear materials accountancy systems, and then training inspectors to implement the safeguards with rigor and professionalism. One thing I would say is that a very key part of this journey, as I have understood, was the partnership. They worked closely with the IAEA, inviting support, inspections, and then guidance at every stage. And through the Safeguard Support Program, the authority has invested in capacity building, not only to meet international obligations, but also to lead their own nation with confidence. And I would say that indeed today, UAE stands as a model for newcomer nuclear states, those that are looking to transition from small quantity protocols states. I think that their experience shows that peaceful nuclear development is possible when based in accountability, proactive policy, and a culture of openness. The transition was simply about compliance to me, and it was also about setting standards for how nations can advance their nuclear energy responsibly whilst contributing to global peace and security. So a very big well done today, the UAE for their successful transitioning. To wrap up the presentation from from Gada. Um, I would also state that they have done a wonderful job, not only through the protocols that they followed, but then we have also gotten to learn about the policy technical regulatory foundations that have supported this transition. We understand that no safeguard system stands without the people. And so GADA's presentation has reminded us that capacity is as critical as the capability that was used in this transition. Her presentation has showed us that strategic investment that was made by the authority in its workforce has indeed yielded the outcome that was intended. They they put in place structured programs like the developee program, internal trainer program, and onboarding initiatives, and built a talent pipeline that aligned with their national goals. We have also gotten to learn about how the authority has used training, career planning, and value-driven leadership, such as tolerance working group, to help create a human-centered culture of excellence and inclusion. So I think together these presentations has showed us that the UAE's nuclear journey wasn't just about systems and safeguards, but it was also about the people, partnerships, and then the purpose. It's a model that doesn't only show how um, that doesn't only show how to develop peaceful nuclear capabilities or capacities, but I also think that it also shows how to do so responsibly, inclusively, and then sustainably as well. So thank you very much to our able presenters for such insightful presentations. We will take the first question. It says that thank you so much for your brilliant, insightful presentation. Please, for how long did the UAE take to move from SQP state to a full nuclear safeguards program? What challenges do you face with regards to regulations, redefining new procedures, and also drafting other more regulations as with regards to the change of nuclear safeguard state? She's also asking for your experience, that your experience would be upbuilding to, okay, so she's saying that your experience would be very valuable to her. I think she's from Cameroon, and Cameroon is an SQP state, so it would be very valuable for her to know. So whoever wants to take this question, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you very much, Arjola. Let me open the camera. All right, so I'll be taking this question. Thank you very much for the question. So I'll start with the first part. How long did the UAE take to move from an SQP to a full nuclear safeguards program? Well, the UAE was under the SQP ever since its CSA entered into force in 2003. So it was with a small quantities protocol in 2003, up until 2017, where when nuclear material was introduced as nuclear fuel into the Baraka nuclear power plant. So like I mentioned in my presentation, once you have a nuclear material introduced into a facility, the SQP becomes non-operational. So it was approximately from 2003 up to 2017, and that was when our initial report was sent to the IAEA. And then, what challenges do you face as regards regulations, redefining new procedures, and also drafting other more regulations as regards to? Okay, so I think this question asks about the development of regulations. So like I said, during this period, the SQP period, was a very interesting period for us because we were developing all the components of our safeguards department and the safeguards infrastructure. One thing that I would like to note is that the development of regulations depends on the heavily depends on the competencies you have in your department at the time. And at that time, we had very few people in the safeguards department, and so we had to hire a foreign expert, someone from outside the country who was experienced in safeguards and development of regulation. We've also had the support of our partners from the United States. They were our partners ever since the development of our nuclear program. So we had people that were experienced from the United States Department of Energy that were supporting us in the development of our regulations. And it's also important to note that during the development of our safeguards, the development of the safeguards regulations or regulations in general in FENR are developed following FENR's integrated management system. So there's a certain procedure that we follow in the development of our regulations. And these regulations also go about revision, I think, almost every 5 years. Our regulations go through revisions, and we take into account all the lessons learned. We take into account feedback from our licensees. Regulations go through review internally through all the departments in FENR, and we also send them for review with external stakeholders in the UAE, people that we work with, and they also comment, and we consider, and we take their comments and reviews into consideration. Now, some of the challenges we faced is that in the beginning, there were cases where there was some kind of overlap between between the safeguards regulations and regulations from other departments, such as the nuclear safety and nuclear security department within FENR. So it was important to make sure there is no overlap between it was important to make sure there was no overlap between the departments, and important to make sure there is no overlap also between other regulations from other entities in the country. So this was quite important. Our regulations had to be in 2 languages, Arabic and English. So you need to make sure that whatever languages your regulations are, they have to be consistent. And also our regulations were drafted before our subsidiary arrangements were also entered into force. And so you need to consider that when you're drafting your regulations in advance. You need to consider that whatever requirements you place in your regulations later on, they do not clash with whatever documents you conclude in the future with the agency, such as subsidiary arrangements, which also includes requirements and all these details for IAEA safeguards implementation. So make sure your regulations are consistent with whatever documents you might conclude in the future. So these are some of the basic lessons we've learned in drafting our regulations. So benchmarking is important. Having competent personnel was important. And also learning from experience. Like I said, the constant review that we do for our regulations is important. We take into account feedback from our licensees and all the people that are affected by our regulation. So I hope that answered your question.
Okay. So we have another one. It says, thank you. How do you determine which staff has more talent or potential? And can you talk about the HR resources behind it and how the process works? I think this will go together since she talked about the human resource.
Come again? Yes, hi.
The question is, how do you determine which staff has more talent or potential? And can you talk about the HR resources behind it and how the process works?
Okay. So I would start with the HR. For us, we linked everything with competency framework. So for any kind of vacant position or positions are increased in number of sections, we ensure that competencies of those vacant positions are specified. In this case, when we are getting the CVs, we analyze them. We ensure that those CVs are reflecting the required competencies for the specific job that we are searching for the right candidate for. and of how to know that this employee is talented. We are also using the competency assessment as one of the records. We are ensuring that the employees are updating their competencies every year as per our procedures. And once we see that that employee is required to be level 3 and he's a level 4, that's giving us an indicator that employee is doing beyond what is required from his side in his job position. We do not just count on that, we are having a talent aspiration session where we are inviting those employees to showcase their talents and their, let's say, those good achievements on the competencies. So they are speaking about themselves, showing their achievements, and we are ensuring that these things are linked with evidences of things that they really implemented and conducted. That does not stop there, as we are checking their competencies. We are have talent aspiration sessions, which is attended by the line supervisor, education training, and the senior management. So we ensure also if that employee is really good and having higher competencies than it's required from his side, then we ensure that this talent is used in the right way. So we are checking which kind of strategic objectives we have in FANR, or transformational projects that we have, which required really an employee who has really capable to do tasks beyond his or her level. So we are assigning them these projects to ensure that we are hiring their good talents in the right place. I hope that I answered your question.
Okay. Thank you very much for your very detailed answer. So we have
You're
two
welcome.
more questions, and then if we don't get any other question, then we close. So this is to Luai. Is the UAE planning to build more nuclear fuel cycle facilities? If so, how will this affect safeguards resource requirements?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question? Because I don't, is it in the,
Okay. So it's in two parts. The first part is the UAE planning to build more nuclear fuel cycle facilities? And the second part is that if so, how will this affect safeguards resource requirements?
okay, if I heard correctly, it's, does the UAE have any plan to build nuclear facilities or other parts of the nuclear fuel cycle? Is that correct?
Um, kind of, let me repeat it. It says that is the UAE planning to build more nuclear fuel cycle facilities? Like, are you planning on adding more nuclear facilities, nuclear fuel cycle
Okay.
facilities to what you already have? And then if yes, how will this affect your safeguards resource requirements?
Okay. Now, there is no official statement by the UAE that it's planning to expand its nuclear fuel cycle, build more facilities, or other parts of the nuclear fuel cycle. So there's nothing out there yet, but anything can happen in the future. Capacities increase, and states may wish to expand, and this could be the case for the UAE. We could have more nuclear power plants in the future. Maybe yes, maybe not. There is no public statement, or there is no any official statement that says that we are going to. But of course, in the event that this might happen, of course, there will be a change in the resources required. Right now, we have a very developed safeguards infrastructure. We have very competent people. In the beginning, we were very dependent on foreign experts, and we had very young professionals that were not really experienced in safeguards. But today, safeguards personnel are very competent, and also other resources, people from other departments required and, to support this kind of expansion are very well competent. In the case where we might have other parts of the nuclear fuel cycle, maybe a fuel fabrication or something like that, then definitely we might employ other experts who have experience in this field. But in terms of expansion, of course, you might need more personnel. Our offices would definitely be bigger. There'll be a lot of work done. Inspections would increase. Verification mechanisms would also have to be more stringent, and they would also increase with the expansion. So yeah, I believe if the UAE decides to expand its nuclear power program, then definitely we'd have to look into our resources and strengthen them in order to meet with the requirements of this expansion.
Okay, thank you so
Sorry,
much for the answer.
excuse me, Adjoa. Excuse me for the interruption. I'm looking at the time. We are already running over, so I think we need to wrap up now. Sorry for the
Okay, okay,
So please, you
okay.
start.
Okay, so thank you to everyone, to our panelists, and then to the attendees for joining in for this session. It's been very informative, and then your questions have also been very brilliant. Thank you very much. So, Nifiba, over to you.
I would also like
Thank
to
you.
add. I would also like to add my thanks to our two speakers from my two former colleagues from Funder. You did a great job. Thank you very much for that. I really appreciate that. And I will draft an email to you with the certificates and with the photos of that we took today. And I would also like to say thank you to Adjoa for professionally leading this webinar, and to all those people working in the background, especially our two ladies from Argentina who are our webmasters. So a big thank you to you all. And before I close, I would like to share something with you, which is a photo of me in my Funder inspection outfit, my first inspection of Baraka in 2017. This is not Baraka, but it's actually the nice hotel where we were staying near Baraka. So this presentation has brought back fond memories of me. And a big thank you to you all again. And I'm missing the UAE, and I hope to be back there sometimes on another opportunity. I wish you all the best, and thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much,
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you to all the
Likewise.
participants for participating, of course. This is all for you. Thank you. I'm sure you took something great out of this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Goodbye.
Thank
Ma
you.
salama.
Ma
Ma
salama.
salama.